Today is Holy Tuesday, the third day of Holy Week, which starts on Palm Sunday and ends the Saturday before Easter. And during Holy Week, Christians remember the last week of Jesus' ministry before his death, burial, and resurrection. And it's a bit strange if you think about it that the big event of Christianity, the most holy season, is the remembrance of the death of our Lord and King. On Friday, Good Friday, we'll remember how Jesus Christ, who we worship, was beaten, mocked, spit on, and ultimately crucified by the Roman government. We call it Good Friday. How strange is that? If you spent much time in church, it might not strike you as that odd, but when you think about it, it's a strange thing for us to celebrate, and it's not what you would have expected from the last week of Jesus' life. It's not what anybody expected in Jesus' day either. Jesus had spent most of his ministry out in the backcountry. He's a little country boy from Nazareth. He wanders through the backwoods of Galilee, teaching and doing miracles and collecting followers, basically out in these little podunk towns in the middle of nowhere. But now he's finally come into the big city, Jerusalem, the most holy city of Israel, the most important city in the area, the Big Olive, as they used to call it. And what does Jesus do when he gets there? Well, surely he wants to prove how powerful he is, so he does a bunch of miracles, right? Well, no. Our Gospels don't tell us about any miracles that Jesus performs in Jerusalem during the week before his crucifixion. The closest he comes is cursing a fig tree, and then later healing a man's ear on the night he's arrested. But both of those happen near the Mount of Olives, right on the outskirts of Jerusalem. In the city itself, Jesus performs no signs, no wonders. He doesn't put on any light shows or concerts. Well, if he doesn't do any miracles, he probably has a bunch of theological and philosophical debates, right? That sounds like a Jesus-y thing to do. No, he doesn't do that either. In fact, several times the religious leaders try to trap him in some sort of a debate. And rather than showing his wisdom and knowledge and absolutely owning them in an argument, Jesus just sidesteps the questions. They try to get him to debate important theological issues, like whether John the Baptist's ministry was from God, but Jesus isn't interested. They try to get him to debate important political issues, like whether Jews should pay taxes to Rome, but Jesus isn't interested. He wasn't in Jerusalem to show how amazing he was with his miracles and signs and impressive philosophical arguments. He was there to die on behalf of the people he loved. And that's not what anybody would have expected. It sounds strange, foolish almost. Here's how the Apostle Paul puts it in 1 Corinthians chapter 1. Paul says, Jews demand signs and Greeks look for wisdom, but we preach Christ crucified, a stumbling block to Jews and foolishness to Gentiles. But to those whom God has called, both Jews and Greeks, Christ, the power of God and the wisdom of God. For the foolishness of God is wiser than human wisdom, and the weakness of God is stronger than human strength. The temptation to turn to signs and wonders or to wisdom to prove our own power is one that a lot of us face every day, especially in our current circumstance where so many of us probably feel powerless, unable to do the things that we wish we could. And we think, man, if I can just accomplish something great, something impressive, that'll make me feel powerful. Maybe I can post about it on Facebook so everybody knows I did it. Or if I can just show people that I know things, if I can just show them how smart I am, maybe I can post something clever online or comment on somebody's post and just destroy those people who disagree with me. That'll make me feel powerful. But in the last week of Jesus' life, he doesn't reach for any of those things. He sets his face towards the cross, and he shows us where true power lies: in humility, patience, service, sacrifice. So as this week we continue to prepare to meet the risen Lord, may we follow his example by ignoring the temptation to seize power, and taking up our cross and following him.